So this wildfire risk has, unfortunately been in the headlines, particularly earlier this year with the situation in Maui and the tragedy that unfolded there. We know that utilities are facing greater pressure to mitigate that risk. So how can they use kind of a combination of both technology and boots on the ground vegetation management services to play a greater role in combating wildfire risk?
That's a great question. Unfortunately, we have seen wildfires over the past several years. I mean, starting in California, and then we've seen it expand more broadly since then. We have seen wildfires have, been quite devastating to many different areas, and especially grid-sparked wildfires in recent years have been a particular issue. In order to kind of talk about ways in which we can mitigate wildfires with technology, I think it's important to talk about the ways in which utilities are typically trimming their trees. So historically, utilities have been on a tree trimming cycle where every 5 to 8 years, they are responsible for going through all of their service territory and looking at where a tree is encroaching or vegetation is encroaching on their line. And they'll then trim that tree back so it poses less of a risk. However, as I was mentioning earlier, where we have highly dry areas or we have highly vegetated areas where vegetation is growing even faster, both of those areas can pose even greater risk to the utility territory, and they may require special attention more frequently than that every 5 to 8 year scheduled tree trimming cycle. And so it requires more frequent care and may require more targeted inspections to either preemptively trim trees or more frequently monitor those areas. That compounded with failures of infrastructure where you may experience a downed line from a faulty piece of equipment, a power equipment, that when it comes in contact with dry vegetation, of course, poses even greater risk. And we are seeing that happen more and more frequently these days. The use case of technology is great because as we are conducting more inspections of our lines, as we are collecting more data of weather patterns and vegetation growth, and then also as we are collecting more inspection data of the infrastructure itself, we're able to get better insights into where we need to target these tree trimming cycles and more frequent inspections. And then we're able to closely monitor those areas so that they pose less risk. Then we're able to take more preemptive action as opposed to reactive action to the tree trimming process.